First lesson in measurement has to do with what is accuracy. Okay, and accuracy is a word that's sometimes misused. In everyday life, we often use the word precise and accurate to mean the same thing. But in mathematics and in trades, they have different meanings. Okay, the accuracy of something is the exactness of measurements. Okay, to be close to the real value as possible. I guess I should put one word in here. To be as close to the real value as possible. Okay, if I do it a whole bunch of times, I should get the same measurement. If I repeat the measure, it should be the same. Okay, I'm more accurate if I get the same thing over and over again. For example, if you were thinking about shooting a basketball, if you get it in over and over and over again, you're becoming more and more accurate. Okay? Because you're doing the same thing and you're having the same result. Okay, so let's take a look at these examples here. Are these accurate? And if the measuring device is appropriate. So using the length of your forearm to measure the length of a picnic table. Okay, now the problem with this is if you use your forearm, whose forearm? Okay, so I'm going to say not accurate because forearms are different. Everybody has a different length forearm. So if I say it's 4 forearms and you say it's 3.5, we're not getting the same answer over and over again. Okay? It's also not very good because you can't make smaller units. It's a large unit of measure. You can't, do fine little precision measurements. Okay? So let's put that as well. Cannot make smaller units. By the way, using the forearm as a measure is actually something that was done in early history. It's called a cubit. And what was done is the cubit was used to measure generally everything. The problem was, like I just mentioned, whose forearm do we use? And what would happen is whatever the king would be, that's whose forearm would be used. So if the king was bigger, the cubit suddenly became longer. And if you were shorter, the cubit suddenly became shorter. Okay? I think if you look up, I want to say in the Bible it talks about the length of Noah's Ark being 300 cubits. I'm not sure about that, but you can look that up. B. Using the length of your stride to mark off the playing field for soccer. Okay? Again, this is not really accurate because even your own stride will change as you walk faster or slower. Okay, so we're not going to get a consistent answer here. I'll say because stride lengths are different. Okay, because strides are different. I mean, this would be a good way to estimate it. Normally, if you're fairly tall and you take a normal stride, you're about 1 meter long. So you could say, each one of my strides is about 1 meter. Okay, C, using a meter stick to calculate the distance between cities. Okay, this should be accurate. Because you're using the same unit of measurement, you're doing it the same way. Okay, it's accurate because it's a standard unit of measurement. I can't change the length. Okay, each meter is 1 meter, so no matter which meter stick I use, I should get the same length. So that should be accurate, but it's not very appropriate. Okay, it wouldn't make sense to measure the distance between two cities using meters. You would probably use kilometers. Okay, so inappropriate because the unit is too small. Okay, using a ruler marked in millimeters to measure the width of a book. Yeah, I think that's going to be accurate. We're using a standard unit of measurement. Okay, and I think that's also appropriate. Makes sense. Okay, it's an appropriate scale. Wouldn't make sense to use kilometers to measure a book. Would make sense to use millimeters. All right, let's look at the next question. Would it be possible to accurately tell the time on a watch face that has no numbers? Why or why not? Well, would it be accurate? It would not be very accurate. It would be an estimation. Okay? I think you could use this to estimate. I can tell you it's going to be about, 1:15 or about 1:30. But I can't tell you is it 1:36 or 1:38. So the accuracy is not going to be great. It will be okay. Okay, is it possible to accurately measure the volume of a pile of dried leaves in the fall? Explain why or why not. Okay, a pile of dry leaves in the fall. Why can I not measure that very accurately? Okay, well, if you look at a pile of dry leaves, it might look very big, but if you pack it into a bag, it might become very small. Okay, so I don't think that's going to be a very good estimation. Okay, I don't know, you could say there's lots of air in there or something like that. It would be hard to measure how many leaves there really are. Okay, because the more you pack it, the smaller the unit will be. So it won't be very accurate. Okay, and this last example, a tool can be precise but not accurate. Okay, so take a look at this. This one is more precise. This one is less precise. You can see why. There are more lines in it. Okay, these are 1/32 of an inch, and these are only 1/8 of an inch. Okay, so one is more precise. All right, the distance between measure marks is very small. However, when measuring a bolt known to be exactly 1 inch long, a tape measure with 1/8 inch increments may be more accurate. Maybe, I don't know. I think, to me, this looks pretty obvious. Whether you use either ruler, it's 1 inch. Okay, now maybe the argument here is because these little lines are so fine, maybe I'm not quite an inch and I'm just a little bit less. Well, I don't know about that. Okay, but here's a good example of one is more precise, so we're talking about precision as being different than accuracy. Okay, determining accuracy. All right, next example. Okay, so Vic and his son are going to pour a concrete pad before building a shed. They want the pad to be 12 feet long by 8 feet wide by 4 inches thick. Vic's son wants to calculate the volume of the concrete needed. He knows that volume is length times width times height, or thickness. Okay, and this is what he does. 12 times 8 times 4, and he says this is 392 cubic feet of concrete. Vic says, no way, we only need 32 cubic feet. Whose calculation is accurate? Okay, well, what's wrong with the son's thinking? Okay, the son said 12 times 8 times 4 is 392. And he says that's feet cubed. Okay, the problem is 4 is in inches, not in feet. So I think Vic has figured that out. He's going to say, let's go 12 times 8, but it's not 4 we're multiplying by, it's 4 out of 12, right? 4 inches out of 12 inches, that's how much of the foot. Okay, and so this is going to be 32 feet cubed. This is accurate. Okay, is it important to be accurate? Well, I don't know, that's a lot This is a massive difference here between these two. Would you really want to order 392 cubic feet of concrete and find out you only needed 32? Okay, first of all, concrete's expensive. Second of all, what in the world would you do with all that extra? Okay, so is it important to be accurate? Yes. Okay, we don't want to buy too much. It's a waste of money, and I don't know what we do with it. Okay, so time for you to try some. I'd like you to go through assignment 1, and we will discuss that in class.